I'm smiling in pain. She is such a mole rat, I swear to God. At least ask to see the terms and conditions. Who we have not seen since the Mortal Instrument series. I always forget how like low-key horny Cassandra Clare makes her characters. Like, I'm quite glad that they did. Drama. So, hello lovely people of the internet. Happy March and welcome back to my channel. I don't know about you guys, but March is a pretty exciting month for me in terms of reading and in terms of anticipated new releases coming out. And right at the start of this month, kicking things off with a bang, we have Chain of Iron, which has been released. This is the second book in the Last Hours trilogy written by Cassandra Clare. The first book is called Chain of Gold, and I believe Chain of Iron came out on the 5th of March, I think. It is currently not the 5th of March. Pretty much when Chain of Iron came out, we were in a lockdown, basically. My city was in a level 3 lockdown and all of the bookstores were closed and no bookstores online were shipping out copies of Chain of Iron. So I had to wait for about a week before I could go and get a physical copy of the book itself. But unfortunately that week was a really busy week for me at uni and I had an assignment due and I pretty much spent my whole week working on that, and I actually didn't get a chance to pick up and actually start reading Chain of Iron. So it's been about 2 weeks since Chain of Iron has come out and I'm very excited to say that I am finally going to start reading it today. Isn't it beautiful? It's so gorgeous and thick. I've been very good at avoiding spoilers about this online. I'm going to try and keep this as spoiler free as possible as well. I might talk about a few spoilers, but they'll be clearly marked and easily skippable if you want to avoid them, so you don't have to worry about that. I did think about rereading Chain of Gold before reading this because it's been about like a year since I read Chain of Gold. But I'm just gonna go into this blind. I'm just gonna see how this goes. I'm having a very vague memory of what happened in Chain of Gold, and we're just gonna see what happens. I will say I am a little bit nervous. I'm scared that this is going to hurt me, but that's fine. I'm just excited to finally be reading this. I'm excited to be starting this vlog. I'm excited to bring you guys along with me. I'm not gonna start reading this right now, but I am going to start reading this today, or at least sometime soon. So hi, hello, welcome to the vlog. I'm very happy that you're joining me on this journey, which I'm sure is going to be interesting. Okay, do you remember that part where I said that I was gonna go in without rereading Chain of Gold and just like seeing what I can remember? I'm on like the second page and I'm already so confused. I'm gonna go online and I'm going to find a, what are they called? Like a chapter summary. Basically just like I'm gonna go online and see what I can find out about what happens in Chain of Gold because I feel like I should remember this very important detail that I've read on the second page, but I don't. This is so funny to me. This is tragic. Okay, I'm gonna go do that, and then I'm gonna start Chain of Iron. Okay, so I went and I read through a summary of everything that happens in Chain of Gold, and I'm not gonna lie, it took longer than I was expecting. There was a lot of drama in that book that I had completely forgotten, and currently my thoughts and feelings very much align with Magnus's. Pretty much like at the end of the summary, there was like just this little bit that mentioned that like Magnus was like sticking around and deciding to help them because he thought that there was going to be like a lot of drama going on in the next few books, and that's exactly how I feel going into Chain of Iron. I think the drama is going to be phenomenal in this book. Basically, this book is starting with James and Cordelia's wedding. This is kind of like a spoiler for the end of Chain of Gold and the start of this book. It is on the blurb, and like not only is this like a fake arrangement, which is the stuff that I live on. I love like fake relationships, fake dating, fake engagements, fake all that kind of stuff in relationships. That stuff just it's a top tier trope. So not only is that what we have going on here, there is just like so much dirt on this one girl, Grace. She's in the first book, and we don't really like know much about her from Chain of Gold. She is just really sus. She's really sus in that book, and already we have had, or at least I've read, a point of view chapter from Grace's point of view. We're getting little glimpses into like Grace's past, into her as like actually a main character. Very excited to see what's going on with her, why she is kind of evil. Because she is kind of evil. She gives off scary evil girl vibes. She does kind of remind me a little bit of Jennifer from Jennifer's Body, if you've watched that movie. It's about a girl who gets like possessed, and she just goes around like eating guys. She just wants to kill and eat teenage boys, pretty much. And that is the kind of vibe that I get from Grace. I don't know, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if she did turn out to be a literal man-eater. Would not be surprised. But there's something weird going on with her. Her whole family is like kind of weird and like kind of into dark magic. We kind of see that in Chain of Gold. I kind of hope that's explained a bit more. I kind of hope it gets a little bit dark. Like a little bit dark. I don't know. Like the Shadowhunter books are like not really ever like super dark or scary, but obviously it's like there are demons and stuff like that. There are darker aspects to the books, but I kind of would love to just see Cassandra Clare go like full kind of spooky, crazy, wacky, horrifying kind of at least once. I would kind of love it, and I reckon this could be the series for that. It could. I don't think it will, but it could. But yeah, very interesting. I'm just about to read The Wedding. I don't know, something in my gut tells me that this is either going to go really, really well, or it's going to go horribly, and I'm betting right now that something embarrassing is going to happen to someone at some point in time of the wedding. Absolutely, there has to be some level of embarrassment that happens. That's my prediction. If anyone's wondering, the wedding's really beautiful. At least so far. Page 78. The first tears have been shed. Oh my god. Also, okay, hang on. Let me just look at the art that is just like in the book. It is beautiful. Hang on, there's like, oh, there was more. I've already seen, like, isn't that just beautiful? I love it. I love it so much. Anyway, back to the wedding. When I say nothing in the world could have prepared me for that wedding, okay, I'm not going to think about it too much. Just know that I cried. I had to stop reading. I've put the book down. We've had a break. We've taken a moment to recollect ourselves. I don't want to keep reading. I really, really do want to keep reading. But I am not gonna lie, I did not expect to cry before the 100-page mark. And I mean, to be fair, most of the tears were happy tears. This happened in Chain of Gold as well. This isn't a spoiler or anything, but any time Jim is mentioned in Chain of Gold, I think like Jim is mentioned like twice. Like he's in the book, but there were like 2 times where they like were talking about Jim, or they mentioned Jim, and I just burst into tears. And that's pretty much just like exactly what has happened in this wedding scene. I read Jeb's name, and those were the tears that you saw before. And then the pain of having them say their wedding vows and just having Cordelia be like, if I say yes to marrying this boy right now, I'm just saying yes to getting my heart broken because it's not real and he's going to absolutely ruin my heart. Don't talk to me. No one does it like Cassandra Clare. Her romance is a fucking next level. I cannot. Anyway, I've read past the wedding scene. James and Cordelia have left. They're currently going over the rules, I guess you could say, of their relationship, seeing as that's like, as it's a fake or arranged marriage, we'll say. Arranged marriage sounds nicer than fake marriage, but both are true. It is a fake marriage, and they're discussing the rules. Like, they're discussing, you know, how they're going to like act around other people and how they're going to keep up the act and all that stuff. And they've come to the conclusion that like every night they're going to play kind of like, they're just gonna, I think it's like they're turning it into a game, but they're like going to ask each other questions every night so they can like get to know each other properly. And I just know that shit is going to go down with these questions. The setup is just too good. And I'm already in pain, and I know that the pain is only going to get worse. I will also say 2 side characters who I don't think I've mentioned yet, who I really, really liked in Chain of Gold. Alistair, who is Cordelia's brother, and Matthew, who is James's parabatai. Also Anna, but like nothing has really happened with Anna so far in this book that has maybe been like, I don't need to talk about Anna right now, but Anna was also a favorite of mine. But Matthew and Alistair specifically, I feel like there are a few hints in Chain of Gold. I don't think this is really like a spoiler. This is just like, because nothing really happened, but like it was hinted at in Chain of Gold that Matthew could potentially have feelings for Cordelia. Obviously, because Parabatai's just married Cordelia. And there was like a little bit at the wedding, I think it was like after they like kissed, and Matthew looked like really, Cordelia said that he looked like really weird, he looked like really serious, and I'm like, oh no, this boy's gonna be jealous. And Matthew is like one of those really tragic characters. He's like, he's kind of an alcoholic because he's a bit sad all the time, and that just gets to me. And Alistair is also kind of the same in the sense that he's very like sad emo kind of vibes. He's just he's like he's definitely kind of like a misunderstood character, and just like the little bits of what we've seen so far, I feel like this book is going to be rough on Alistair, and I don't want it for him. I just want him to be happy. I cannot get over the fact that I cried. We're not even 100 pages in. Anyway, I'm going to keep reading. I would really like to finish this today. It's a bit of a laugh. That's how much I've read. That's how much I have left to read. Bit of a laugh. We'll see how we go. I'm going to keep reading. Ugh. Pain. I'm in pain. Okay, instead of an emotional update, let's do a little bit of a plot update. Because while I don't feel like a lot has really happened apart from the wedding, some stuff has been happening. Okay, so some developments. Right at the start of the book, I don't think I mentioned this, right at the start of the book, we find out that Grace, evil Grace, bitch Grace, Grace that we do not like, is trying to raise her brother from the dead. He's been dead the whole time. This is not a spoiler. Like, not a spoiler at all. He's dead in Chain of Gold. He's been dead the whole time, don't worry. And we find out that Lucy has been helping Grace. Lucy has some like weird ghost magic. I think she can raise people from the dead. I can't remember exactly like what her ability things are. Basically, Lucy and James have like powers because they're Tessa's children. Tessa from the Infernal Devices, she's like a warlock, shadow hunter kind of deal. Anyway, they have special powers because obviously some of her warlock blood has been passed down to them, so they have some abilities. Lucy's is something to do with the dead, and James, we've found, has been having these weird dreams. He basically has been seeing people dying. He's been experiencing these deaths, and like he has recently just made the connection that these deaths are like actually real, and he is like dreaming them as they happen. He's experiencing them happening. And I think there was also like some other stuff in Chain of Gold that I can't exactly remember, but he can like he's got some weird stuff going on. The murder is also not a spoiler that's like mentioned on the back of the book. There is like a murder mystery aspect to the story. Someone is going around killing shadow hunters, and so far no one that we really know has died. Like no one important shadow hunters have died, but no one like central or like vital to the story. I think, I mean, like if Cassandra Clare doesn't take this opportunity to kill off a character that we care about, I will be shocked. I like, maybe because it's like some like so obviously like that's immediately what I think, maybe she won't do it, but I think like why would she pass up the opportunity to cause us that kind of pain? I think someone that we know is going to die. I think it's going to be one of James's friends. I don't think it's going to be like Lucy or Cordelia. I don't think it's going to be Matthew, his parabatai, although it might be. I think it's going to be like one of the other friends, like Thomas or Kit. I think it's going to be, or maybe even like Anna or something. I think it's going to be one of like kind of like the side character friends. I think one of them is going to die. That's my little prediction so far, but that's kind of like the plot update. There's a little bit of murder going on, a little bit of mystery. Not much has really happened with Grace trying to raise her like brother from the dead. We found out about Grace, a little bit more about Grace, why she's kind of evil. She has some power, some kind of evil demonic power that I still don't really know how it works, but it's kind of been explained a bit more. I just like usually, I think just like at the back of my mind, usually like obviously Shadowhunter books are about Shadowhunters. Shadowhunters fight demons. I think in the back of my mind always I'm like, surely there is like a demonic presence, power kind of thing behind all the bad stuff that's going on. Surely it can all be traced back to a demon. And in Chain of Gold, this is kind of a spoiler, but not really. In Chain of Gold, there's like this whole plot line of where they're trying to figure out who Lucy and James's granddad, the demon, Tessa's demon dad. They're trying to find out who the demon daddy is. Tessa's demon daddy. They're trying to figure out who the demon is. And I reckon that this is also going to be all connected to that, like Tessa's dad, Lucy and James's granddad, demon granddaddy. I reckon it's all going to be tied back to that. It might not be, but I'm pretty sure it is, because like it's a Cassandra Clare book. That makes sense. But plot wise, things have just been chugging along. But anyway, I'm almost at page 200. I have about how many pages until part 2? I have about 130 pages until I'm at part 2. Part 2, I'm still on part 1. Oh my goodness, I was kind of thinking earlier, I was like, maybe I would just read a whole book that is James and Cordelia and their like little domestic married life, because that shit is so cute. It is so hard to read though, because you know it's like a fake arrangement, but it is so sweet, and I would read a whole book about that, but I just like, I don't think the plot that has happened so far in the book could like be its own story. I think it's good that she's like combined them together, even though I really only care about the relationship aspect at this point. The romance is why I'm here. Oh, absolutely, it's why I'm here. The drama in this series is so good. So like, this could be the best one yet. maybe. Like, the infernal devices, the main romance, the whole, like, Tessa, Will, Jem, will forever be, like, heart-breaking, soul-shattering, the best thing that I will ever have read in my life kind of thing. But series-wise, this one could potentially be a favorite. My favorite. Maybe. Ooh, I don't know. Anyway, I'm really enjoying this after the emotions of the wedding scene things have come down. And we're getting through it now. I'm enjoying what's happening. I'm invested. Let's see how long it takes me to get to part 2. Oh, also, I feel like I just have to say that the tension between James and Cordelia is insane. Oh my god, it is up there. Then, like, there have been a few scenes where I literally have almost screamed at how good the tension, like, obviously they're gonna fall in love. Well, see, I think that they're, like, gonna be the end game. I hope so, because it's so good. Okay, just a quick little plot update. You know how I talked about the murder mystery aspect, the killing that was going on amongst the Shadowhunters, and I said that I thought someone, like one of the side characters, one of the friends, was going to die. There have been 2 more killings since that update. 2 more killings. One of them, I was kind of right, but it wasn't anyone who I mentioned. I don't know if that's, like, considered a spoiler or not, but someone that we do know died. And then someone else has just died. And all I'm going to say is, I am surprised, but happy. I'm happy. I'm happy with who has died, which is mean. It's mean because, I mean, other characters who I care about are going to be sad about this. But the person who died, I can't say that I am sad that they did, because I'm not. I'm quite happy about it. I'm quite glad that they did. I'm just surprised. I'm honestly, I'm surprised that happened. And I'm interested to see what comes out of this. Already, I feel like this is going to make James and Cordelia grow closer together. Also interesting plot-related update. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this. Cordelia has this special sword called Cortana. Cortana is also in the Dark Artificer series. It's the sword that Emma has, because Emma is also a Castia's. No. Is she? Yes. Cordelia was a Castia's. Now she's technically a Herondale. There we go. That's the confusion. Anyway, Cordelia has the sword Cortana. And it's like a special sword of some kind, so it's like chosen Cordelia. And there have been, like, some instances where Cordelia has gone to, like, reach for Cortana or, like, use it in battle, and it's, like, burnt her almost as if it doesn't want her to use it, but it's only ever in battle. It's happened twice when, like, they've been up against some demons, and Cordelia thinks, she's like, oh, maybe Cortana doesn't think I'm, like, worthy anymore of using it. I'm thinking that actually maybe, like, there's some demon interference going on, because, I mean, it's only acted up around demons. I'm like, maybe there's something going on. Maybe I can't hurt demons anymore for some reason, and I don't know why. I don't know how that would work at all, but that's my little guess. But I find that very interesting. That kind of little subplot, interested to see what happens there. But anyway, a death just happened, and I just wanted to talk about it because I was surprised. As I said, I do still think that there is actually time for, like, other characters that we know and care about to die. Like, as I said earlier, I do kind of still feel that one of the friends will die. I just feel it. I just kind of feel it. I feel like, why would they not? Why would Cassie Clare not do that? I feel like she would. So, I mean, there's still time. I'm not even up to part 2 yet. I did think that there were going to be 3 parts. I'm pretty sure there are only 2 parts to this book. So, I'm almost like halfway-ish, kind of. There's still plenty of time for pain and sorrow. Drama. So, long story short, like, no context really needed. Currently, Cordelia is out with Matthew, James's parabatai. Whenever I say James's, it just sounds so, like, James's? Is that like, it just sounds so wrong. Anyway, he is James's parabatai. Anyway, they're out together. They're on like a little, not like a mission, but like they're doing something, right? They're out there doing stuff together. Whatever, it's good, it's great, it's fine. Which means James is currently by himself. He's currently at the house that him and Cordelia live in, and he has just had a visitor. If you can't guess who it is by now, I'm just getting Grace. It was Grace. I fucking hate this bitch so much. See, this is the thing. I think I remember reading somewhere or like hearing somewhere that in Chain of Iron we're meant to like learn more about Grace, her whole backstory, why she is how she is, and like I can't remember if we're meant to like her more. But if that's the case, we're almost halfway through. I don't like her any more than I ever have. To be fair, I do like, we are starting to see more of her like story, and it's making a lot more sense as to like why she is how she is, for sure. Definitely that is coming through. But do I like her? Absolutely not, especially after what just happened. Basically at the end of the last book, when James and Cordelia get engaged, James and Grace, I think like when they were little or whatever, I don't know, I'm pretty sure that they had agreed to get married at some point, James and Grace. And James tells Grace, he goes, I have to do this, we're only going to get married for like a year, it's not going to be real, but while I'm married to Cordelia, I can't like see you, we can't have contact with each other, at least like not in private, like not in any way that would, you know, be rude or like offensive or make me like, you know, break my vows as a husband. And Grace is like, absolutely, of course. And Grace has come to visit James at his house. I don't think she knew that he was alone exactly. And I also know that she hasn't necessarily gone to see him like at this particular point on purpose. Like I'm not saying that she purposely made it so that she went and saw him when he was by himself. I'm not saying that like she made it just so. But she sees him and they go into the study, and this is like Grace's thing. She can control men, and we see in like a flashback of like one of Grace's like explanation backstory pieces, whatever, that when she first meets James, he can't be like controlled by her like other guys can. And he has this bracelet, I don't think I've ever mentioned it, he has this bracelet, the Gracelet, and like whenever he is wearing it, like he can't take it off. He thinks about taking it off like several times in this book, like before the wedding, a few times when he's like by himself, he thinks about taking off the bracelet, and then he just like forgets. He never does, because he literally can't. The bracelet like controls him, because it's Grace controlling James. Anyway, and because he's wearing the bracelet, because he can't take it off, because he is being mind controlled by this evil fucking bitch, she comes up to him and she's like, oh my gosh, like I just like, do you still love me? You need to like kiss me to prove that you still love me. And he does kiss her. Now listen, usually like it if a man ever like cheated on a girl, absolutely I would hate him so much, right? Because cheating is horrible. First of all, I do have to remind myself that their marriage, James and Cordelia's marriage, isn't like real. Second of all, not mad at him at all, because like he literally thinks like in the scene, he's like I don't want to. Like he literally says like he's like what does this say? A force makes him like catch her and like bring him closer, and it feels really wrong, but he can't stop it from happening, because he is being mind controlled by this evil little bitch. I have felt like I've never hated a female character more in my life, and I hate that. I really do hope that Grace gets a like redemption arc of some kind. I really don't like hating female characters, but she makes it so easy. God, she makes it so easy to hate her. And I mean, okay, but to be fair, they kiss, right? And this is the drama part. Sorry, I got like caught up in a second. The drama part is they kiss, and it's like really like passionate and steamy and whatever. And then they stop, and she's like, oh my god, I have to leave, because like she could feel that, like she was like you were absolutely like not kissing me, like in your head, like you did not want me to get that kiss was meant for someone else. That someone else being his wife, Cordelia, who he really does love. We know this. We do know this. We know it's gonna happen. I will be so mad if it doesn't happen. I was also thinking, I know, tangent, I'm sorry, but I was also thinking, while Cordelia has been running off with Matthew, there are like hints that this could possibly turn into a love triangle scenario where, you know, James and Cordelia are married, and James and Matthew are parabatai, but Matthew like kind of starts to hate James because he actually falls in love with Cordelia. Cordelia will have to choose, like, oh my god, which one will she choose? Oh my gosh. And I feel like it could work out that there is a time where Matthew and Cordelia are together for some reason. I feel like there's definitely going to be a part where her and James are like not married and not together, but I don't, as much as I like worry that is going to happen, I don't think it is. I just don't. I can't see Matthew and Cordelia being together, because like Clare is laying down the foundations for James and Cordelia to have like the best romance ever. Possibly, I'll say it, possibly the best romance in the Shadowhunter universe to date. She's laying the foundations down good, guys, like really, like it's so good. And I just can't see how she could do that, and then we're on book 2. There's only the third book left. I cannot see how in 1.5 books she can lay down the same amount of foundations for Matthew and Cordelia and also ruin the foundations that she's made for James and Cordelia. Like, James and Cordelia absolutely have to end up together. Like, I cannot, maybe I just don't want to, but I cannot imagine an ending to the series where they are not together. I literally cannot. This man is learning Persian for this girl. He is learning how to speak Persian and a whole other fucking language. And maybe that's not much if like you are married to someone who speaks another language, but I think it's a pretty bold act. I think it says enough. The act in itself that he is learning her like native language and he like speaks it to her. It's like that's just too intimate to like not for them to not end up together. If they don't end up together, I will fucking riot. I will lose my goddamn mind. Could maybe see like Matthew and Cordelia happening as like a weird, in like a very weird, like not actually real kind of sense. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna happen. I'm worried it will, but I don't actually think it will. If I think about it logically, it just doesn't seem like it's gonna happen. But who knows what's gonna happen? I don't. Anyway, I'm on page 288. I'm almost up to part 2. And I'm in my feelings. Fucking damn it. I've made it to part 2. I'm about halfway through now. I think part 2 is technically like just over halfway. If we're going by page count, I think technically. But I'm around the 50% mark, roughly. I think I might do like a little bit more reading tonight, but it won't be much, and I probably won't like do any more updates for tonight. I think I'll try finish this tomorrow. It's just a lot. Some things that we've learned since I last updated. When that time recently that Grace had a little one-on-one chat with James, and a little bit more than a chat. Apparently the bracelet got a crack in it. It's breaking. And I really thought that that meant that was like him breaking out of Grace's like enchantment spell, whatever the hold that she has over him. But I'm not so sure, because this part ends with James like still fully convinced / convincing himself that he is still very much in love with Grace. So maybe it just means that it's starting to happen. But like, I thought it was just like enchantment over, but no. He still does think that he is in love with Grace. So that's kind of disappointing, but something wacky's going on with the bracelet. There is like hope that the bracelet will break and James will be free to love Cordelia forever. Hopefully. The other thing that we have learned, I'm not going to say any specific names for this because it hasn't happened, but it's almost like it's been very heavily implied that it will. But throwback to when I mentioned that I think one of the close friends is going to die, it is very, very likely that that is going to happen very, very soon. Probably at the start of part 2. I'm not going to say which friend, but one of the friends is acting very, very stupid right now, and it could potentially put them at risk of dying. I think the like serial killer part of this story is kind of meant to be inspired by Jack the Ripper. I think I haven't read that anywhere. I don't know if that's true, but that is very much like the vibes that I'm getting from this. There was also like a weird thing about the killer stealing people's rooms. We're pretty sure that the like from what this is my theory. I mean, I don't know who the killer is, but like from what I've gathered, I think that the killer is definitely either like possessed by a demon or is a demon of some kind. It definitely has to be like, I think it definitely has to be like a shadow hunter or someone from the downworld. It has to be someone that the shadow hunters know, because one of the shadow hunters who died, just before they died, they recognized the killer. So it has to be someone in the kind of shadow hunter downworld world. Has to be that. And I definitely think that they would just have to be possessed to go around killing people. And they've been stealing people's runes, so obviously they need either, that's why I'm like uncertain about it being a shadow hunter, because why would a shadow hunter need to steal runes? Because they would already have runes, but also runes don't work on downworlders. It's very, honestly, it's a bit confusing, but that's okay. That's all I know. That's not even really a theory. That's all we know about the killers. So that is part 1 done. If I think about it objectively, I feel like actually not a lot has really happened, and I'm like well past the 300-page mark of this book. Stuff has definitely happened. Obviously, stuff has happened, but the plot, has the plot really progressed? No. As I said earlier, though, I would happily just read a whole book of this size, purely of James and Cordelia being cute, domestic, married couple. I would absolutely just read a whole book of that. So I don't mind that the plot isn't really speeding along. I mean, and the story's moving along. It's not like it's dragging necessarily. I feel like there hasn't really been a lot of plot development. There's a killer on the loose. That is about it. That's about all we have so far. Which, now that I say that out loud, scares me for part 2, because that could potentially mean a lot happens in part 2. A lot of the potential of part 2 is terrifying. But there we go. Part 1 done. I'm going to probably carry on reading a little bit before I go to sleep, but I will update you guys. But I won't update you guys later tonight. I will see you guys some other time with some updates. Hello, this is Editing Annie from the future. This is just me giving you guys your official spoiler warning for the rest of this video. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Pretty much everything from this point on
is discussed in like too much detail to really just like, if you're trying to avoid spoilers, you may as well just like end the video here, because I definitely talk too much in depth about like everything, and it's definitely emotional, and definitely if you want to experience this for yourself, no spoilers or anything, stop watching now. Go read this book. It was absolutely amazing. If you don't mind spoilers, or if you've read this or whatever, feel free to carry on. Absolutely fine. I just realized I didn't ever give a warning for the spoilers coming up, so here's your official warning. Okay.
Okay, good morning. Last night, I feel like I read a little bit more than I was expecting. I have about 100 pages left of Chain of Iron, and I'm ready to just sit down and finish this book. Oh my god. First of all, though, I do have a few notes that I wrote down so I could remember to talk to you guys about them. Just like a few things that happened while I was reading last night before going to sleep, and a few things that I remembered that I haven't actually told you guys about yet, but it happened like earlier on in the book. So basically part 2 starts, and I think the last update that I said, I thought that one of the friends was going to die. I think I said that it was like pretty much like settled that one of the friends was definitely going to die. I was actually so wrong. I actually laughed so hard because the friend actually doesn't get killed, but gets like framed and accused of being the killer, and we know that he's absolutely not the killer. We know that this friend is not the killer, that like there's just like no way. And someone actually does step up and say, I did actually witness the friend not kill the Shadowhunter. I have been following said person all night. I know that they did not kill this person. And I'm just, okay, I have to say names now. I literally have to say names now. Okay. So the friend who has been going out on their own and like being really stupid regarding the murders is Thomas. And the person who steps forward and says that I've been following them and I know that they didn't kill this Shadowhunter is Alistair, Cordelia's brother. And we know like 2 things about Alistair and his relationship with Thomas, and like all of Thomas and like James's friends pretty much. Basically, they all went to school together. Alistair was a bully. No one likes Alistair. But also in Chain of Gold, there were hints that Alistair and Thomas, I don't think they ever had like a relationship, or like they ever had, like I don't think they ever went on a date. I don't think they ever kissed or anything, but there's definitely like been hints that they could be more than friends. We know Alistair is like definitely gay, like absolutely. We know this. This was like a whole thing in Chain of Gold. Thomas, I think, it's also kind of been hinted at. I mean, obviously, because it's like hinted at that he had something going on like with Alistair. It doesn't really matter because Alistair was a bully. Everyone hates Alistair. But then he steps forward and he defends Thomas when he's being accused of these murders. And Thomas and Alistair get locked up together. They get locked up together because they're waiting to be like put on trial. They get locked up together and they've had some chats. They're chatting about romance, and I hate to say it, but I do think it would be amazing if they got together. Also, speaking of like romance chats, like couples pairing up, the part that I've like just stopped reading it, Grace has a very interesting interaction with Kit, Christopher. And I'm now scared that they're going to have a romance. And I'm scared that Grace's redemption arc is going to be related to Kit. Or she's going to be forced to use Kit to like get back at like James or something like that. Because this is like things that we've learned about Grace so far is basically she has this power over men, but she didn't want it. She was like forced to have this gift. Her mom, Tatiana, absolute mental. She's the one who's like making Grace use her power. She's the one who's kind of like really evil pretty much, but she brought Grace up to like manipulate people. So Grace's actions are partly on herself, but like you have to understand her circumstances. Definitely were not ideal. Definitely I do feel sorry for this girl, but like not in the sense where I can forgive her or like her in any sense. I just like I do realize that her upbringing was shit. But I honestly, I do want her to have like a redemption arc, and I don't want it to be tied to a man. I want it to just be about her. And I also don't want Kit to be hurt, because he is such a softie. He's such a sweet little boy. I don't want Kit to fall in love with Grace. I don't think she deserves it. Like, that sounds mean, but she has to redeem herself first, and it cannot be with the help of a guy, like not like in a romantic way. And then she can fall in love with Kit. That's all I'm saying. Something else that I also didn't mention throughout this whole story, pretty much, is Lucy, James's younger sister, Cordelia's like best friend, has been falling in love with a ghost. And this happens in Chain of Gold too. She's met a ghost. I'm not going to say who the ghost is. She's met a ghost, and she's falling in love with him, and they've had some really sweet little like romance points in Chain of Iron, like some really, really cute moments. Really, really cute moments. But obviously their romance is like absolutely tragic because he's already dead. And that's why I haven't mentioned it, because I was like, this cannot go anywhere. This cannot end in anything other than tragedy. But there is a scene that I read last night where the ghost comes up to Lucy, and he's like, I think I'm fading away. He's not like a regular ghost, right? He's like, I think I'm going to like disappear soon for like forever. I don't know if I'm ever gonna like I don't think I'm gonna be able to see you much more. I don't think I'm ever gonna see you again, kind of thing. And they have this really sweet little kiss, and it's so sad because he just like goes away after. I'm not gonna lie, I know that it's like meant to be tragic because he's already dead, but I am like hoping that he somehow comes back to life, or there is a way that him and Lucy can have a relationship, because they're so cute. They're so cute. It is so fucking cute. But like reading that little bit last night kind of dashed all my hopes for that. And I'm scared now that he is just going to die. And I don't want that. I really don't want that. Also, around that time that all of that is happening, speaking of kissing, Matthew and James have a fight, because James mentions that Grace came over and he like accidentally kissed her, and Matthew was like, what the fuck are you doing, you idiot boy? And he gets mad on behalf of Cordelia. He's like, Cordelia wouldn't ever, like, she's too proud to like tell you exactly how much that would actually hurt her, but like you absolutely have, like, that is like the biggest dick move you could ever do. And he gets like really, really mad and kind of concerning, because I absolutely do not want a romantic subplot between Matthew and Cordelia. Absolutely not. I still don't think it's gonna happen, but there are more signs pointing to yes. I just don't want it. Anyway, James fights back and he starts yelling at Matthew for being an alcoholic, and it's just, Matthew is just so sad. And I just want him to be happy. And you would think that if I wanted Matthew to be happy, I would want him to get with Cordelia, but I don't think they would be good together romantically. I think Matthew needs Cordelia as a friend. A good, close friend. I think that's what he needs Cordelia as. He needs to fall in love with someone else. And this is the other thing, Matthew's like a really, really big flirt. I cannot take, I don't see him actually liking Cordelia in like a really serious way. I just don't see it. I just don't. But I do really want him to find happiness. I want to hug that boy so bad. He is just so precious, and I'm so sad for him. Also really sad for James, because he is being emotionally manipulated and controlled by Grace, this bitch. Oh my god, I want her gone. It has to, it has to end. Like, it has to end before I lose my mind. Really am on thin ice here. I just emotionally cannot take James being controlled by Grace, because this is the thing, they always talk about James having a mask. It doesn't really show people his emotions, because Grace is he's emotionally unavailable because of Grace in all ways of his life. He does not realize how much that he loves Cordelia, even though I'm pretty sure his love for Cordelia is going to trump this enchantment kind of thing. I reckon Cordelia is going to help him break the enchantment. But something else that I didn't tell you guys about, so much has happened. In part 1, when Matthew and Cordelia go on their little expedition, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this, they are going to try and fix Cordelia's sword, Cortana, because I think I mentioned that it was like acting up, it was being weird around demons. I said it was something to do with demon activity. I was right. Basically, the sword was like tainted by fighting this like super powerful demon in Chain of Gold. Anyway, they meet Wayland the Smith, and Wayland the Smith is mentioned in pretty much all of the Shadowhunter stories. He is the one who made some pretty like powerful, good swords. He's the best smith ever. He's Wayland the Smith. He's legendary basically. And Cordelia somehow manages to summon him, and he manages to fix Cortana for her, and it's like super simple. And then he says that he wants Cordelia to swear to him and become his paladin. And later she does talk to James about it, and she tells him, well, she asks what he knows about like Wayland the Smith and paladins, and James says that people who like swear themselves to like a god or like a higher being and become their paladin are like, they do it so they can become like a true hero, and they can like get kind of more powerful in a way. So it doesn't seem like a bad thing, but I think it's a bad thing. I think it is suspicious that Wayland just comes out of nowhere. Wayland the fucking Smith. He says he's older than like demons and angels. He says he's been around for ages. He's like, I don't know what he is, but I don't think he's just a smith. I don't think he's just some guy who's good at making swords. It's just a bit suspicious. He has to be something more than that. And Cordelia being his paladin has to go wrong in some way. Like, she jumped into that arrangement way too quickly. Like, he fixes her sword in like 3 sentences, and then he's like, swear to me, swear your blade to serve me. And she goes, yeah, absolutely. I was reading that and I was like, girl, think it over. At least ask to see the terms and conditions. Stupid. It felt like a really stupid decision at the time. I'm going to keep reading my thoughts about today. I've been talking for way too long. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to finish this. I have like 100 pages left. I'm very scared. Not Cordelia saving James from a demon in like his dream realm. Not him. Not them saving each other. So James and Magnus go into James's like weird dream. Basically James, because his mother is Tessa, she's like a warlock shadow hunter. He has like apparently in his mind, he has like all these doors to like other worlds that he can visit, kind of because of like, it's kind of like a demon power, right? Like he can visit these other realms, like, and he like visits shadow realms and stuff like that. We know this from Chain of Gold. Anyway, Magnus takes James into like the realm that James thinks that he's been seeing in his dreams, and it's not the same place. And James's granddad is there, and he like he's trying to possess James. This is like what's happened in the first book as well. Like, we learn that James's granddad as a demon cannot walk on the earth unless he possesses a body, and he thinks that James's body will be like the perfect one for this. I don't know. I think, actually, just to go off that, I do think at some point earlier in Chain of Iron, Matthew and Lucy are together, and Matthew goes, why does your demon granddaddy not care about you? Why does he only care about James? And Lucy basically goes, because he's a misogynist. Pretty much, she's like, probably because I'm a girl, like, let's be real. I think that's going to change at some point. I honestly think that, like, maybe he will try and possess Lucy at some point. But anyway, James goes and visits his granddad, and his granddad gets mad, and he's like, let me possess you, blah, whatever. Like, he's like, you can't escape this weird little shadow realm that you've come and visited me, and, like, I won't let you leave. And James is trying to leave. He's trying to, like, think of home. He's trying to think of London. And he thinks of Cordelia. And he's like, Cordelia's my home. And then Cordelia appears with Cortana, because Cortana is, like, the one thing that this demon is, like, not, like, necessarily scared of. I mean, he is scared of it because it's, like, one of the one things that can actually harm him. And Cordelia comes with Cortana, and she's like, back the fuck off, demon granddaddy, he is mine. She literally says, she's like, he's mine. He is mine. And she saves him. And now he's like, did you mean it? Did you mean it when you said that I was yours? And she's like, no. And he's like, I don't believe you. And she's like, fine, yeah, I did. You're mine. I swear to God. I swear to God, they are so in love. And if I have to read, if he does not get this bracelet off him anytime soon, or if I have to read another scene with James and Grace, I'm gonna go feral. I'm gonna lose my mind because I cannot take it. Cordelia and James are so good. I'm rooting for them so much. So I just want them to be together and I want them to be happy and I want James to not be still emotionally controlled and connected to Grace. I want her gone. I want James and Cordelia to live a happy long life. Literally, the bracelet's gone. Him and Cordelia are fucking making out. Like, they were probably about to fuck on this floor, right? Like, that kind of making out. And what he's like really into it, whatever. And then they hear this, like, weird sound of metal. And James gasped and pulled away, half sitting up. His hand had gone to his right wrist. There was a red mark there, like a burn, but there was something else, something missing. His silver bracelet, the one that he always wore, lay in 2 broken halves on the hearth. The bracelet is gone. The bracelet is gone. What does this mean? Oh my God. Okay, hang on. Oh my God. Okay. So James has just collapsed. Probably because the bracelet is gone. But, the inside of the bracelet says loyalty binds me in, I think, Latin or something like that. And he just, what does that mean? Loyalty binds me, and now it's broken? Is he gonna die? I don't think he's gonna die. I don't think this is gonna kill him, but I'm concerned. I can't believe the bracelet's gone. I thought the bracelet was just gonna disappear and everything was gonna be fine. I should have known better. I shouldn't. Of course it wasn't gonna be that easy. Grace, you little fucking worm. She is such a mole rat, I swear to God. Fucking things up and she's not even there. I get that's the whole point of the bracelet, but like, girl. God, I just want her gone so bad. I hope she leaves. If Grace dies, I'm not even gonna be mad. Throw like a little party over here. I can't believe James was so horny for Cordelia that he broke his bracelet. Oh, that's golden. That's too good. I always forget how, like, low-key horny Cassandra Clare makes her characters. Like, of course, the bracelet breaks because James wants to fuck his wife. It's so fucking ridiculous. Anyway, that was some juicy drama. So I'm on page 463. And stuff is happening. Pretty much kind of like all of the plot pieces are like coming together. I'm pretty sure we just found out who the killer is. Like, yes, we found out who the killer is who's been killing the Shadowhunters. We found everything out. I'm still confused. And I'm not happy. I don't think I like where this is going. And I don't want it. I don't want it to carry on. Oh, this isn't good. This is not good. What the actual fuck is going on? Lilith just showed up? Lilith, like Adam's first wife, Lilith, mother of all demons, who we have not seen since the Mortal Instrument series. Lilith. I'm so confused. What the fuck? I'm not confused anymore. Did I not say that this paladin business was suspicious as fuck. Cordelia, you stupid little girl. This is actually so well done. This is so well done. Oh, it's all making sense, and it's actually, I'm laughing because it's just, it's so good, but it's so bad at the same time. Oh my god. I will say this though, I'm not mad that Lilith is here. I love Lilith. She's so, I mean, she's evil, but she's so good at it. She does it so well, like no one else. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. James, ever since the bracelet broke, he knows that he is absolutely in love with Cordelia, like absolutely 100% in love with Cordelia. And it's like kind of like there's been a big battle. And they're at home, and Cordelia comes in and she's wearing a dress, and the necklace that he gave her at the start of the book, I don't know if I mentioned that he gave her a necklace. It had like a little globe pendant on it or something. And when he gave it to her, he was like, I want to give you the world. And it was really sweet. But anyway, after this battle, they're not alone, James and Cordelia. It's like they're at the house and all of their friends are there. And anyway, he like sees the necklace and he's like, I'll tell her later what the secret of the necklace is. So there's a secret, there's something, the necklace does something, or there's a secret to it. I don't know. But why do I get the feeling he's not gonna tell her? I'm scared. I'm genuinely about to cry, because if he does not tell her, I will literally like burst into tears, because I need this to happen so badly. But I have a feeling something something's gonna go wrong. Something's gonna go wrong and I'm not ready. On page 515. We're getting close to the end. Close to the end. Not Tatiana telling her daughter to seduce her brother. To be fair, Grace is adopted, so she's not actually related to her brother. Did I mention that Grace is trying to, everyone's trying to raise Grace's brother from the dead, pretty much everyone, but everyone's going about it in different ways. It's very annoying, kind of, very, very frustrating. But surprisingly, he is very central to this whole story. Anyway, Tatiana's mad because Grace is somehow messing with Tatiana's plans on raising Jesse. Either way, as I said, everyone's got different plans on raising Jesse. And so Tatiana says to Grace, you should use your power over men, seduce Jesse, convince him, make him love you more than anything else. And Grace is like, ew, what the fuck, that's my brother. And Tatiana goes, no, you're not related by blood, it's fine, just do it. Cassie, please. We don't need another incest plot. Like, I know they're not related by blood, but we don't need it. We do not need it. Also, Grace loves, Jesse more than anything. I think Grace isn't going to do it. But also, Tatiana is, evil, and maybe Grace is, still scared enough to do it. Scared of Tatiana to actually, do what she wants, but I don't think she's going to do it. She loves Jesse too much. I hope this is the start of her redemption arc. I hope she turns this evil bitch down. Tatiana is literally mental. Anyway, do not want another incest plot. Please, dear God. No. No. Fucking. This cannot be happening. This cannot be happening. I need to take a break. I cannot. I'm taking a break. I'm taking a breather. Oh, fuck, no. I'm in great pain. I've taken a moment. Let me kind of explain. Basically, after everyone's left, James and Cordelia are alone, and James realizes that he, loves Cordelia. He's realized it now because he's not under the spell. And Cordelia is kind of like, oh,
but our marriage is fake, and you know, you wouldn't have the same feelings for me that you have for Grace because you love Grace so much. And he goes and he's like, no, I've never felt for you what I felt for Grace. She takes it the wrong way. Obviously, because drama, she takes it as in like he could never love her. He means that he loves her infinitely more than he ever loved Grace. And they're going to start talking, and then there's a knock on the door, the front door, and it's late at night, so James is like, go up to your room and we'll discuss this. It's probably just my father. I'll send him away because we really need to discuss this because he needs to tell her that he loves her. But he opens the door and Grace is there. And that's why I threw the book down, because Grace is there. And she throws herself at James, and she's like, ooh, she's like making up some lies about something, but because the bracelet's broken, he knows that it's fake. And so he drags her into the study and he's like, explain yourself. And she tells him that his demon granddaddy gave her the power to control man, but she couldn't control him, so that's why she had to give him the bracelet. So he would only be in love with her and no one else. And the only reason why she had to do that was because he was in love with Cordelia when he was younger. And he's like, James is just realizing that he has always loved Cordelia. Always. Always. But he hasn't been able to actually know it because of Grace. I'm in so much pain. You have no idea how painful this is for me. I'm not gonna cry right now, but we're close. I'm so mad. And so sad. Cordelia saw Grace and James. And she took it the wrong way. Of course she would. And she's gone. I don't blame the girl, but I am heartbroken. I fucking hate Grace. Why is she just so terrible? Oh my god, she's ruined everything. I want her to die. Straight up, she deserves death. Cut her off. Dead. Now Cordelia has run to Matthew's, and what do you know? Wow, Matthew's in love with Cordelia. He's told her. I honestly thought this wasn't going to happen. I'm smiling in pain. I genuinely did not think... No. No. Why do the Herondale boys have to be so fucking tragic? I'm sick of crying over them. I'm sick of it. It's James. Everything is just so wrong. James leaves Grace because obviously Cordelia's left, and he knows that she would think that he and Grace were like in love, whatever. So he runs after Cordelia to tell her that it's wrong. But obviously she was at Matthew's, and Matthew was saying that he loved her, and then he was like, listen, let's go to Paris as friends. Because Cordelia didn't know. Obviously she doesn't love Matthew, but she wasn't going to be mean to him. So she's like, yeah, let's go to Paris. We need a break. Matthew left a note for James saying, basically, it seems that all four of us are unhappy, like James, Matthew, Cordelia, and Grace. He was like, Cordelia and I are going. I'm sorry I never told you that I loved her before, but like I was trying to be respectful, but it's obvious you only love Grace. So I've left to try to make Cordelia happy because she is not happy, and you can be happy with Grace, and I can be happy with Cordelia, and it'll all be fine, but it won't be fine. And so he runs to the train station to try and get them to stop and explain to them. But then Will shows up, and Will is like, James, you need to come home because your sister is missing, because yes, Lucy is being fucking stupid and she was planning on running away with a warlock to try and raise Jesse's body from the dead, but she didn't need to do that because she raised the body herself. But now she's like passed out and she's still like gone away with these like two guys and they're trying to find her. And I'm so sad. James's life
is just like, I wanted the bracelet to come off and I wanted everything to be perfect. Obviously, I knew that wasn't going to happen, but his whole life is crumbling before his eyes. His wife ran away with his parabatai, his, like, soulmate, his, like, best friend. And then his sister's gone missing as well. I can't do this. My heart is breaking for this boy. Breaking. Magnus is there. And he knows that something's wrong. He knows that something is not right. You'll forgive me if I say that you don't look like someone whose wife just left for a pleasant trip to Paris, said Magnus. You look like someone who just had his heart kicked out on a train station platform. Because that's what's happened. I can't do this. I literally cannot do this. I've finished. It's such a mess. Everything is a mess. I need to take a break. I just need to take a break away from this book for a second. I'll come back and wrap this up in a little bit. Okay, so it has been a few days since I have finished Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. Am I okay yet? No. The answer is no. I will say something that I think I didn't mention while I was reading this, but something that's very interesting is the ties between this series and the Dark Artifices series. The Dark Artifices, honestly, is probably like my least favorite Shadowhunter series within the Shadowhunter world, because I've always felt that it's like very disconnected from everything else. Like the Mortal Instrument series, I guess, is also kind of like separate in its own right, but also it is 6 books long, and I feel like it can stand up on its own, whereas I've never felt that for the Dark Artifices. But a lot of really interesting things happening in this book that relate to the Dark Artifices, and surprisingly, I kind of want to go back and reread them. The Dark Artifices is the only like Shadowhunter series that I've never reread before ever, and I'm kind of getting the urge after reading this. I want to go back and reread them, and it was really fun reading this and like making the connections between the series. I think that's really cool. I really like how it's connecting back to that series. But that is it. I really do not have any more thoughts or feelings to share with you guys, so I'm going to end the vlog here. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for coming along on this ride with me. I really appreciate you guys watching as always. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you guys with another video sometime soon. Bye!